morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Sam here, United People's TV, and I wish I was here with an absolute bucket load of positive news, but alas, I don't think I am. I've called it a storm that's brewing. I don't know whether that's a tabloid over-exaggeration or whether that's just a bit of an acceptance of Manchester United at this moment in time. It seems to be every sort of stone you overturn, you see there's another one. That it's just that the bad news seems to be snowballing. And we're going to be speaking about the Jaden Sancho situation. I'm going to mention the ongoing Antony investigation. I will say this at the start of the show. This is an ongoing police investigation. Please, if you do, mods, kick all the comments out, ban the people who are doing it. You have my permission straight away. It is an ongoing investigation. We will have an adult conversation about it, and we will not go further than that. I'll speak about those two situations, about a little article from The Athletic this morning about maybe a slight back injury for Amrabat in the medical. Sydney, you're calling it a storm in a teacup. Well, Manchester United is a mighty teacup. It's not a teacup by any stretch of the imagination. It's, there are problems at this club, and there continues to be problems. We'll speak about all of those. We'll speak about, as I said, Sancho. We'll speak about Antony. We'll speak about Amrabat. We'll speak about Paulinho. Apparently didn't know I was going to speak about him, but who knows? Speak about the international break. There's going to be, hey, look, over the next 10 days or so, I know what's going to happen. There's going to be less of you tuning in, but all of you are sticking around. You're the proper Gs. Let's see who's here from the community. Amy Bonan, good morning to you. Natasha, you're there as well. We've got Jiu-Jitsu Killer. That's easy enough. Poz Ismaila, Carl, you're there as well. Kenny, Chris Dyke, good morning to you. Robert Ping, we've got Andrew Giggs, we've got Saeed, we've got Kev Ryan, Biker Boy, Aaron William, Tyler, we've got Josh, Ian Cartwright, you're on Facebook. All good morning to you. We've got Aid, we've got Josie Graydon, good morning to you. Matt Frost, how you doing, buddy? Darren, Christina, there's lots of you tuning in. First thing I want to say, ladies and gents, if you so wish, and why wouldn't you? A new episode for the podcast is out. Recorded last night. It was me, Bal, and Neil. Jake was there, but his microphone wasn't working. And we spoke about the Arsenal away performance, VAR, the Garnacho situation. We spoke about Sancho and Ten Hag. We spoke about what our favourite meal deals are, which is a very important conversation. And it's an enjoyable podcast episode. I think so anyway. Let me quickly get the link for you here. It's available on all podcast platforms. That's Spotify, Apple, Amazon. And as I say, like, a lot of work goes into the pod, and more work is going to be going into the pod. Please give it a 5-star review wherever you listen to it. It makes a big, big difference. Going to hopefully be once next week. Well, not next week. Once the Champions Leagues kick in, we're hopefully going to be doing 2 podcasts a week. So get involved and support it. I love doing that. The podcast is something very, very different to everything we do here, and I really, really enjoy it. So big up to all of you that do listen. Now, let's run through a sort of couple of conversations around Amrabat and Paulinho that I didn't think we'd be starting this show with. Amrabat, right? I think you know how excited I am about the idea of Amrabat. I think he's the signing that really does bring a massive, massive element of balance to a midfield that really has just lacked balance. He is that sort of the missing piece in that sense. He's not the absolute best signing that we could have made in the world in that position, but in the circumstances and the context of us having absolutely no money, I think we've done pretty well. Anyway, this is the Athletic. I'm laughing because honestly, I might cry if I don't. This is what the Athletic have just published this morning about sort of details into the whole transfer, the last few days of the window, everything that happened. So United eventually struck a deal, blah, blah, blah. Amrabat's medical was completed, although not before United detected a minor back injury. I'm being serious. 27-year-old struggled with his back during Morocco's World Cup campaign, revealing to The Athletic early this year he received pain-killing injections in order to play in the second round. The back issue was not thought to be serious. United pressed ahead. So let's fingers crossed, hope that that's nothing more than a little minor red flag. A little minor red flag. And that he's going to be completely fit to play. Because I seriously, man, no. Honestly, if you don't laugh right now, you just kind of get. It will be easy to Get swallowed up by the news just everywhere you look. Oh, the Glazers aren't selling. Oh, great. Oh, Sancho situation. Oh, great. Antony. Oh, okay. Amrabat's injured too. Oh, Højlund was injured when we signed him too. Oh, okay. We just had an 89th minute goal ruled out against Arsenal, and then okay, but went on to lose 2-1. What 97th and 101st minute goals? Yeah, nice. Just everywhere you look, you're like, give us a break, please. But no. An interesting part about that article as well was also Paulinho, and I can see you down there, and you've always been a fan of Paulinho. I think most people have, let's be honest. Paulinho is a little bit of a different signing because he's 28. He's basically at the peak of his powers. I'm not saying he would be a Galactico type signing, but he kind of a different signing-ish towards the ones that Ten Hag has been making so far. Obviously, Casemiro aside, Ten Hag has been signing significantly younger players. Paulinho, right? This is what's been said here. So, talking about Scott McTominay going to Bayern Munich. And look, and saying that Paulinho also had admirers at United. Ten Hag was impressed with his performances, but United moved ahead with a cheaper deal for Amrabat because, of course, McTominay stayed. Had Manchester United got that money for McTominay, I personally imagine we would still have signed Amrabat, but maybe it could have been Paulinho. And I suppose if you're looking at the long-term prospects of Casemiro in this team, I think Casemiro is, well, he's not here for the long term, is he? Casemiro was brought in ready-made to play for 2-3 seasons for Manchester United. Maybe there's every chance that Manchester United could go after Paulinho in the summer and then have Amrabat, Paulinho, and Casemiro for a season before Casemiro is then sort of edged out. That could happen. I mean, he cost a lot. What was the price that Bayern Munich agreed with Fulham? I think it was around about 60 million euros. I think it was 60 million euros. Thereabouts, which is a pretty reasonable price for a player of Paulinho's quality in that position as well. I think, I don't know if you agree with me on this one, but it seems in the market that defensive midfielders, certainly this summer, defensive midfielders and strikers were where the two big premiums were. Right, we've obviously got Declan Rice. You've obviously got Enzo Fernandez. I can't remember who else was in that position. You've also got Harry Kane. You've got Gonzalo Ramos went to PSG for I think 70. We've got Colin Mwani went to did Colin Mwani go to PSG as well? Jeez, I didn't even think of that. I think he went for like 90 million euros. Seems like those two positions, defensive midfield and centre forward, are the two where they're the biggest numbers. Bellingham, of course, going. Yep, Caicedo I've just mentioned there. Some big transfers. So 60 mil for Paulinho. Pretty cheap, but I suppose that is because he's 28. He doesn't have that resale value. It kind of would be a United signing, wouldn't he? But if it worked out for a few years, very, very nice indeed. But yeah, apparently we were interested in Paulinho. Let's see what goes on there. Maybe something in January, maybe not. Not with the Glazers, not with the amount of money we've got. God's Power saying I would rather find someone younger for that price. Well, that's the age-old argument, right? But it's a balance, right? United have got a brilliant prospect in Rasmus Højlund. He's 20, but he's an unknown entity. He could well only score 10 goals this year, and you can't put that down to failure. You can put that down to a 20-year-old adapting to life in the Premier League. Rob, you're saying Bellingham is smashing it. Man, has anybody been watching what Bellingham's doing, man? I think he's got 5 goals in his first 4 appearances and an assist. And he scored like a 95th minute win in the last game. But it's not just that. It's like he's the king of it already. Absolutely. Bellingham. Obviously wouldn't have grown into the player at this age had he come to United. I think what the path that he's had to Dortmund and now gone into Real Madrid at 20. Man. It's going to be interesting in, say, let's call it 4 years' time after Bellingham's won a couple of Champions Leagues and a couple of La Ligas. Who's going to try and sign him? And just imagine this, right? When someone does sign him like that, he's going to be like 23, 24. That's not fair. How do they make players that good? But yeah, Bellingham, I'm so delighted for him, man. I hope he absolutely smashes it. Hope he goes on to win the Ballon d'Or. Hope he does everything. It's cool to see an Englishman thriving out there. And what an environment to do it in. And a brand new renovated Bernabeu, man. I am so desperate. I know you're all going to hate me for this. I'm being selfish. I'm desperate for United to get through the group stage of the Champions League and to draw Real Madrid and to get the opportunity to go to the Bernabeu. I haven't got any credits, so I'm going to have to somehow swing a credit. Well, it's probably not going to be easy, but I would love the opportunity of seeing Manchester United play Real Madrid in that new stadium with this Bellingham in that team. Man, what an occasion that would be. Brian is saying he'll be at Madrid for 15 years. Can anybody name me a player that's been at Real Madrid for 15 years? Raul, he was there for a long time. Sergio Ramos, he was there for a long time. Iker Casillas, that's 3 of them. Not 15 years, though, surely. Damn. Anyway, Jaden. Not Jaden. Wrong one. Jude. Incredible, man. Just come to United in 3-4 years' time, right? Right. Let's move on to see what... To see? I know exactly what I'm talking about here. There is still plenty of talking points. Benzema, there's a good one there for 14 years. That's got to be one of the longest. Hierro, that's another one. Right, a confirmation yesterday of something that I was so confused about this whole summer transfer window. I was like, why on earth has nobody gone for buying? I know that he's got injury concerns, X, Y, Z, but it still felt a bit weird. Still felt a bit odd. Anyway, Bai is now gone. He's gone to join Besiktas. I'm going to presume that's on a free transfer. There's no mention here. It's just left on a permanent transfer. I'm pretty sure that his deal had expired, but mate, Erik Bai, man. Erik Bai leaves with my best wishes, and he leaves as one of those players where you're just going to have to go, you know what? What if? What if Erik Bai never had those injury concerns? What if he did fulfill on that promise when Mourinho signed him from Villarreal? I remember that specifically because we signed him and I was like, oh my, United have got a centre-back who's actually athletic, who actually can bring the ball forward, who can actually step out. And of course, injuries just absolutely plagued his career. But good luck to you, man. I hope you go and enjoy yourself out in Turkey. Yeah, it was right that he left. We got him off the wage. We got him off the wage bill now. And yeah, the wage bill is probably the biggest. No, it's not the biggest blocker we've got right now in terms of progress with signings and all that. But it's one of the biggest. One of the biggest is our wage bill, and so many players there that just so many players that we don't want, we just can't get rid of. Apparently, Raul spent 16 years in the first team. How long did Iker Casillas spend there? It must have been over 20 years. Casemiro, 9 years. There's not that many players. There are some players. My point here, there are some players, but the majority of players at Madrid, they have quite quick cycles. Not all of them, though. But he is taken to it. I'm jealous. But if Bellingham was at United right now, he wouldn't be flying in the same way that he is with Real Madrid. It's just incredible. Now, there's as I said, there is a storm a-brewing. No, I did that. This Sancho situation, man. I do not like it. I did not like it as soon as I saw that. Why is my camera moved? My camera's moved a little bit. Let me move that a bit. Better. Right. Jaden Sancho. Jaden Sancho. But as soon as that statement was released on Twitter, I was like, why have you done that? Why have you done that? Like, we spoke about it in a lot of depth on the podcast. So I would encourage you to go and listen to it. And Neil made just a pretty fair point. He goes, it just feels like a very reactive thing to do. Like if you're down the pub, you can sort of accidentally say something to somebody. You can just come blow it out of your mouth. Whereas that statement from Sancho, he had to write it all. He had to sit there, put his finger over the post button, go, should I? Done. Does it. Plenty of opportunity to not do it. And of course, it has not gone down well with Erik Ten Hag. Really not gone down well with Erik Ten Hag. And this is from the Telegraph and also the Times. I'm going to run through what is being said here, right? Jaden Sancho battling to save his United career with Erik Ten Hag let down by his outburst. Ten Hag and his United staff are understood to have been left stunned when he took to social media and effectively accused his manager of lying. Now, I'll go over here and see what the Times are saying. Ten Hag feels let down by what Sancho had said. Jadon Sancho is facing an uncertain future. Right. And this is, I've got to be honest, this right here is my point of view on this whole situation. Ten Hag and those coaches, they gave Jaden Sancho, right? I'm going to go back to this, and I'm firm on this now. I've had enough time to really think about it. Jaden Sancho was given 3 months off mid-season as Manchester United's highest earner, away from the spotlight, because Ten Hag and his coaching staff, they looked at him and they realized, said, you know what? I don't think this environment of Carrington is the best place for Jaden right now. They all agreed on it together, and they said, you know what? Take your time out of the spotlight. Take as much time as you need. There was never a return date. It said, right, you got to be back by X date. Ten Hag just always said he's away. He's working on his own fitness, and he's working on his own mental fitness too, or his mental health. No return date on it. 3 months Sancho got. And we are now what? How many games into this season? 4? 1 second. Let me check. Is it 4? We're 4 games into this season. And Sancho has decided to call his manager a liar and said that he's training fine. After Ten Hag and the coaching staff gave him 3 months. That's his response this season. That doesn't match up. That does not match up at all. And Henry Winter putting this article out yesterday, and I'm sorry, but I'm fully in agreement with this. And I'm fully in agreement with Erik Ten Hag. Now, you can say to me, Sam, well, Ten Hag shouldn't have said that in public. Ten Hag was just answering a question. Ten Hag was asked a question by a journalist, and Ten Hag is a straight talker. We all know that by now. You might say, Ten Hag, all Ten Hag needed to do there was lie. Ten Hag is a very direct and very straight person. If you ask him a question, saying that, not with the media, he kind of controls what to say and what not to say sometimes. But he was just being honest. Jonathan's saying we don't know if there's more to it. It's a strange statement, but let's wait for full facts. Dude, I will wait for full facts. But it doesn't take away from the fact that that was a massively ill-advised statement to make. Because it now completely undermines Ten Hag. And Shapiso, straight talkie. Ten Hag does know how to control the media. I do kind of backtrack on that. After 3 months off. 3 months off, and then 4 games into the season, that's what happens. I'm not having that whatsoever, man. Ten Hag's got my full support in this situation. Man, look at everything that this guy has kind of dealt with so far. First of all, it was the Ronaldo situation. Then it was the sort of the ongoing Maguire situation, kind of dropping Maguire, dropping everyone. Will he be captain? Won't he be captain? Then it was a De Gea situation, and everything went on there. And then, of course, the whole time in the background, sorry, one itchy nose again. The whole time in the background, the Greenwood situation was ongoing, which now resolved itself in the summer. And in the summer, Erik Ten Hag removed the captaincy from Harry Maguire. And in the summer, Erik Ten Hag let go of David De Gea on a free transfer. And then, on top of all of that, now, 4 games into a season, he's got Jaden Sancho calling him a liar in public. And now, which I will speak about next, the Antony situation is getting serious. There are so many. There's so many, like, Stu, you're calling it a circus right now. I don't know the right way to describe it, but it feels chaotic. It feels like, as I said, like no matter which way you turn, no matter which door you open, you kind of want to close that door straight away. It's mad. I'm going to go down here and see what you're saying in the comments. Tom, you're talking about saying it's not like Sancho. Sancho, I think a lot of people did the same. You know, when like Donny van der Beek, man. So many people with Donny van der Beek were like, oh, Donny's just not being given a chance. Donny this, Donny this. No, give him more up. The dude had like 5 or 6 starts in a row and was still pretty cack. And people still said, oh, he's not getting enough opportunities. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. Mate, it was a massively ill-advised statement from Jaden Sancho. Whatever you think about whether Ten Hag should or shouldn't have said what he did, he's the boss. You might disagree with how the boss does his things sometimes, but he is the boss. But as an employee, you don't come out and call your boss a liar. You just don't do it. Maybe you'll do it in an email to him and you try and sort it out between yourselves, but you just don't do it. Now, I don't know whether this is what someone said down there, a storm in a teacup. I don't know whether this is down here. This is really going to be worse, as bad as it sounds, but it feels like a bit of a storm. So we've already got Mason Greenwood, who's not a possibility on the right wing anymore. Now Jaden Sancho, we don't know whether he's going to be a Manchester United player for the long-term future. And then you've got this Antony situation. Alan, you're saying this is what, dude. This is such a wrong statement just to completely shout. I think Erik Ten Hag has protected. There are different situations, and Neil explained this really well in the podcast yesterday. There are 2 situations, right? With Fergie did it as well. Fergie always protected his players when his players needed protecting. If the media were attacking them, if they were getting unnecessary criticism here or there, Fergie would stand in front of them and be the shield. However, if that player was not doing his job properly, was not training as hard as he should be, was not being what Fergie expected that player to be, Fergie would drop him to the bench. Fergie would kick him out of the matchday squad. They would just get booted to the side until they did their job properly. So the idea of protecting your player at all costs, that only goes so far. And a manager will do that if a player gives everything to the manager. And I think Ten Hag has shown that this whole way through. If you ride with him, you ride or die. And clearly Sancho has not been doing that. Clearly. I think that's, you could say that's an assumption, but something isn't right. Something isn't right. Well, it's about this whole thing. So this idea of just protect your players at all costs. Yeah, I agree, but it only goes so far. And a player has to deserve that sort of relationship with their manager. It's a 2-way street, man. Garlic bread, man. One of the best usernames still. I want some garlic bread now. Can we just have one season with no off-field drama and antics? That's all I ask for. Pretty broken. Look, dude, I don't know. Can you? Can't you? It's no one could have predicted it. Sancho, throughout his whole time at United, I think it's never quite clicked. Sancho is another one of those just big money signings that at this moment in time just hasn't clicked. And we all still hope that it will, but man, he's made it difficult for himself. He's made it difficult for himself. And as I said, the Telegraph, the Times, both reporting now that you can understand surely if Ten Hag and his staff are left stunned by that. The same player that got given 3 months off last season has, after 4 games, I'll repeat that, 4 games into this season, come out and said, nah, manager's lying. That's almost immediate. Don't know. And Jaden Sancho had a good positive preseason. You might say that's the reason he's annoyed, because he had a positive preseason, but then he's had a few. Oh man, nah. There's no. You can throw everything you want at me, but there's no justification from that statement for Jaden Sancho. I think he'll go on to regret it, and I don't know what happens next. I'll be honest. I don't know what happens next, because part of me thinks that the way that Ten Hag has managed so far. Jonathan, you're saying he didn't say he was lying. Oh, come on, dude. Come on. What was the inference if that wasn't it? As soon as within an hour of Erik Ten Hag saying that Jaden Sancho hadn't performed well in training, Jaden Sancho came out and said, "I performed very well in training." I mean, you could try and distance the two if you really, really want to, but come on, people. Come on. I'm fully in Erik Ten Hag's camp here. Fully in Erik Ten Hag's camp. Let's go. Let's move on to the next talking point, which is this is why I said it's a bit of a storm brewing. Now, I've done my full video yesterday where I ran through the Greater Manchester Police statement. I ran through what the reports have been saying out in Brazil. I ran through Antony's statement, and I won't be doing that again this morning. Okay. What I will run through is what has happened since. So this is what I covered yesterday. I covered all of this and the fact that Antony now was under investigation by both Greater Manchester Police and Sao Paulo Police. But what developed last night was this. The Brazilian Federation released an official statement on Antony saying, in order to safeguard the alleged victim, the player of the Brazilian national team and the CBF, the organization informs that Antony has been removed from the Brazilian international team. So this is a development that's happened since I did that video last night. Brazil, as a nation, they have dropped Antony from the international games. At this moment in time, Manchester United declined to comment. That was from the Telegraph yesterday. Now, I don't know whether that position is going to change, but that's where it stands at this moment in time. Okay. And the allegations are serious. Really, really serious. Serious enough that the Brazilian national team have dropped Antony. I don't know what United will do with this point. If I remember correctly, I think this is right. Mason Greenwood was suspended, I think, immediately by Manchester United after everything was posted online. All the evidence. At this moment in time, Antony is denying everything. He's released his own statement. So the situations as it stands are slightly different. But I have no idea how United will handle this. But the fact of the matter is they can't ignore it. Okay? They can't ignore what's gone on. So Erik Ten Hag is going to have to deal with what's gone on with the Jaden Sancho situation and his statement and dealing with that. Some people down there saying, Sam, don't twist the word. Didn't call him a liar. Yeah, it doesn't matter it does not matter if Jaden Sancho thinks he's trained properly. It really doesn't. If his manager doesn't think he's trained properly, then he hasn't trained properly. You don't go by your own standards as a player. You go by the standards of the manager who manages you. You can't walk into work and go, you know what? I think I've worked hard enough today. Yeah, go on then. Give myself a half day. It's not for you to decide. That's for your boss to decide. So Erik Ten Hag is going to have to deal with the Jaden Sancho situation, and Manchester United as a football club are going to have to respond to the Antony situation. Let's find out what they do with both. And that's why I said it's a bit of a... It feels like a bit of a storm. It feels like a bit of a storm. Right, I'm going to go down here and look what you're saying in the comments. Parallels with Aubameyang, Arteta, and Sancho, Ten Hag. No, I think the Aubameyang, Arteta parallels was Ronaldo. That felt like more of a parallel than Sancho is. But didn't Aubameyang just like go away to Italy and get a tattoo done? when he was supposed to be in training or something like that. I think that's a little bit unfair. Jibak, what are you saying, sir? Fergie didn't have favourites who were piss poor every week and would still get picked regardless. There's a difference between Fergie and... See, I'm guessing you're attacking Antony there. And Antony's just, well, from a footballing perspective, what he's done so far this season, yeah, I need more from him. We all need more from him. But the strange thing is, I think, overall, I think his performance against Arsenal was probably one of his better ones this season. He does what the manager asks him to do. He does that. The legwork that's involved. It's just he doesn't have the finesse in the final. But I'll tell you what, Hoyland coming in will probably make Antony a better player. Will make everybody a better player going forward. Tommy's saying, have you ever seen Sancho putting his body on the line after he lost the ball? I didn't. Antony's doing the work. Can't people see that? Well, I've just said that. It's something that I can. It's something that I can definitely see, and it's something that clearly Ten Hag. You can. There's like that aspects of a game that Ten Hag holds more value on than probably the average football fan. And that's why Antony keeps getting in that starting 11 ahead of other players. Pellistri, honestly, I wouldn't even be talking about Jaden Sancho as second choice on the right wing. I'll be talking about Pellistri. Love watching that kid. Chidi, you just sent a super chat, dude. You've not written a comment. So if you can just leave a normal comment, I'll try and read that out. And Jack, you're saying, will a day go by where there's no drama? I keep calling it. I say there's never a dull day for Manchester United, and there really, really isn't. And you're saying, said all along that Sancho needs. I'm gonna dive back into the Sancho conversation because I think it's worthy of a community chat. You're saying said it all along Sancho needs to go, but for the love of God, keep that private. That's what Fergie did so well. I would have preferred Ten Hag just to give a little bit of a white lie, just to say, oh yeah, they're both ill, but he didn't. Which in part sort of explains where he feels he is with Jadon Sancho. Because don't try and tell me that he hasn't done right by him the whole way through. The whole way through, Ten Hag has stood by Jaden Sancho and done right by him in every single thing he's done. Up until that point there, where he decided in public to say he's not training well enough, and Jaden Sancho's immediate response is to publicly disagree, jump out and defend himself and undermine his manager. Two wrongs don't make a right and all that. They're just two wrongs. Both of them are wrong. Doesn't mean I support Ten Hag any less, though. Because I said for him to have done that means that something's changed. Something's gone further than it was before. Chitty, you're saying, look, some fans are deluded. Said Ten Hag lined up as a scapegoat. Who else is he directing that at? I don't think that. I don't know. People want to read what they want to read, man. Remember that he said Sancho had said the same thing back in 2019 when he was at Dortmund as well. So I mean, there's no smoke. There is a clear trail. I can show you a paper trail with Jaden Sancho going the whole way back to when he was 16 at City, and when he didn't get called up to City's preseason training. That was when they had Brahim Diaz and Phil Foden. He didn't get called up, and then he just ignored all the calls from Man City staff because he didn't come into training the next week. And that was when he was 16. When he was 19, he said that he was getting humiliated and scapegoated out in Dortmund after he was fined for being late back from international duty, dropped from the squad against Mönchengladbach, and then taken off after 36 minutes against Bayern Munich. In England, there have been question marks about his attitude in training. In Manchester United, there have been question marks. There's 4 different clubs, a country, so many different environments, so many different scenarios, so much evidence, a paper trail. So you can't just say to me, Ten Hag should just be protecting his players at all costs. I would rather we just want to talk about the footy. Just want to talk about the footy. And I remember when we signed Jaden Sancho, it was a year later. Man, I thought we've got one. We've got one. And it's not quite worked out since. Not really. Not on the levels that I suppose we were all expecting of Jaden Sancho, but the levels that Jaden Sancho would have been expecting of himself as well. And there's got to be a cause for that. And I don't know if we've ever truly got to the bottom of it. And Robert, right, there's a comment there, which again is probably why I'm so staunchly kind of supporting Ten Hag in this particular scenario. Wan-Bissaka could easily have just faded into the background at United. His prospects were far lower than Jadon Sancho's were when they bottomed out. Yet he grafted. He proved absolutely everything. I'm still eating humble pie over Wan-Bissaka. Love getting proven wrong by players. Love it. I would absolutely love for Harry Maguire to go on and be an absolute killer defender this season. And for me to have to release 3 apology videos on him. It's not going to happen probably, but I'd love to. Same thing goes with Sancho. But if you're going to try and tell me that Ten Hag is the issue here with Sancho, and I'm telling you that Sancho's had issues at City, Dortmund, England, and now United, and they've all got kind of parallels in between them, that's 4 different places with 4 different managers. And there's one common denominator then with those. The evidence suggests that something is amiss. If anyone's a scapegoat, it's Maguire, not Sancho. Yeah, I suppose you can say that. Let me see what you're saying down here. What are we saying down here? I'm so sick of people bringing up wages. I only mentioned the wages once at the start. But what I would say about wages is when you are on higher wages, you have to expect that you will not be treated the same as somebody else who's on a third of your wages. If you are on bigger wages, the demands on that individual will be higher, will be more. The expectations will be higher. That goes in past. That's what happens when you go up in the world. You get more responsibility. You get a new job role. You move up the chain. You get more scrutiny. Same thing goes if your wages go up. Same way that last season I was judging Harry Maguire differently to all the other centre-backs. Why? Because Harry Maguire was our captain. And I hold captains to a different standard at Manchester United than any other player. And just like players with bigger wages. Bully is saying, Sam, is there a raffle this month? And there's no raffle this month. I'm just going to leave it with the Discord because I really, really, really want to hammer this home to everybody that this Discord is our new home, right? I'm going to be launching the arms in it next week. I tried to do it this weekend and I had technical difficulties. But the Discord is there. It's popping. Anybody who's on Telegram, that's going to get shut down in like 25 days. It won't exist anymore. Please come across to the Discord. I've just dropped the link in there. It's free. If you join, there's a welcome video from me. There's an FAQ. There are mods everywhere. They'll help you to join. All right. But yeah, man, oh God, I just want a normal day. I just want a normal day. Rob, you're saying, Sam, if a Saudi offer for Sancho came in, would you accept it? My gut tells me United would accept it. But I'd kind of be surprised. Magmamo, that's a really good question down there. When's your new software coming out? That new software, right? Let me tell you about it. I've had that new software about 90% ready for about 6-7 weeks now. I've just never had the ability to do that final 10% testing, making sure it all works. I'm going to be doing that in this international break properly. And what I'm also doing, you see this behind you here, this is getting a brand new refurb and it's going to be sweet. I can't wait to reveal that. So the new software is coming. The new studio look is coming. And if I can get it done by the time I want to get it done, then by the 1st of October, this whole look and software interaction is going to be on a different level. That's my aim. I just don't know whether I'll be able to do it. But look, going from all that good news, well, let's just go to some more good news. Well, it's not really good news, is it? Glazers selling Manchester United. 5th of September. We're coming up to the bloody anniversary. Was it 2 months' time? And it would have been a year. 2 months' time, it would have been a year. Gary over there saying he's not going to stop talking about them. And there's nothing else that can be said that hasn't already been said a million times now around the Glazers. Now, this here is an interesting article that's gone out from The Athletic because it's completely and utterly true. It's around the censorship that's happened of Man United's protests in the stadium and chants being put on, chants being taken off videos. And Man United were approached directly by Daniel Taylor. Thank you, Daniel Taylor, for doing this and covering it. We're directly approached about this, right? Read these. United say there is no policy of censorship unless the chants are deemed offensive, but they also accept that, yes, there have been times when "We Want Glazers Out" has been heard in the stands, but is not audible on clips used by the social media accounts. And they got asked directly here about that Casemiro example here. They said, we respect fans' opinions and their right to express them peacefully. We do not have a policy of censoring audio other than to remove offensive language than to protect younger fans. Goes down here. And look at this one, right? Where a discrepancy between our content and what is heard in the stands, where a discrepancy occurs between our content and what is heard in the stands will usually be due to the positioning of microphones. So they're saying that the time when they censored that Casemiro chant, remember that when Casemiro got signed, walked out the tunnel, and all you could hear was "We want Glazers Out." That's all you could hear. You went and you watched a video on Man United's social accounts, and you couldn't hear that at all. You just heard a Casemiro chant. And it was obvious that United had edited it. They've actually gone on to say there, oh, yeah, it's not actually our fault. It's actually where the microphones are placed. I'm like, man, what a stretch. United getting called out there. You know when someone gets caught lying and they go, and they stumble through their words. It's really when you know you've caught someone lying, red-handed. Man, there's nothing more I can say about this takeover. There's no videos I could do, no matter how powerful I could make it. There's nothing that I could do that hasn't already been done. And the reality is we just have to wait for the greedy bastards to sell, for that price to come in. To shit. Shapiso saying invade the pitch. What dumb idea. What, and everyone get arrested? Everyone get banned from Old Trafford so they can't go again? Yeah. Top quality idea there, my friend. Top quality idea. No. That would absolutely play into their hands. You have to play it you have to play it peaceful. That's why that one time against Liverpool after the Super League that will be my favorite ever Glazers video I ever do. Because it was so powerful. I've seen loads of people here, right, saying that Fergie should get involved in this, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, what on earth do you think Fergie's going to do? Mate, just let him enjoy his retirement, man. You think Fergie coming out and saying anything is going to change anything? Nah, it wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a Declan is saying waiting is a great idea, isn't it? It's like, dude, piss off, man. Come on. Why does any United fan call out any other United fan over what they do or don't do on this? Or more to the point, what they do. Man, I've given so much coverage. I think I've probably given more coverage to Glazers Out than any other fan channel. And I hate the word fan channel. Can I just... I'm not going to call myself a fan channel. United People's TV is a Manchester United community. It's not a fan channel. I hate that. I hate that concept and that phrase. I really, really do. But yeah, I don't get why anybody digs. Look, it's just it's kind of like came into this season with expectations, with hopes. We still have them. I'm not saying they're gone, but man, we're in a whirlpool, aren't we? We are in a whirlpool. I don't know when it comes out. I don't know when we go on that nice smooth sailing. Not quite there yet, are we? We're not quite there yet. A couple of bits of good news. Lisandro Martinez is not injured at all, so he should be back hopefully for the Brighton game, which may well mean that United have a back four of Delo, Lindelof, Martinez, and Wan-Bissaka, which is exactly what it was against Arsenal, but Lindelof wasn't 100% fit. That could happen. That could happen. Man, I don't really. This community is built off the back of positivity, of finding the positive angles and really focusing on them, and looking ahead with genuine positivity. And it's going to be a struggle in these next 10 days between that Arsenal game and the defeat and everything that now is coming out around Sancho, and that's happened since, and everything that is developing over the Antony situation. It's going to be a struggle. I'll tell you what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to find those positive angles, and I will be speaking about them. My video today is going to be a good one. You'll enjoy it. I'm going to analyze Rasmus Højlund's debut against Arsenal and say, look, this is a sign of what is to come when we have a focal point in attack. And I'm going to show you 4, 5, 6, 7 different examples of little subtle things, of little moves that happened with Højlund in the team that will now be taken forward to the game against Brighton and onwards. And when you add Amrabat into that team, I think tomorrow I might take a look at our overall squad depth. We analyze each position. If you've got any video ideas, throw them to me in the chat on Discord. I'll always take on community suggestions, man. But yeah, I called it a shit sandwich last night on the podcast. Make sure you go and listen to the podcast. But that is pretty much what United is right now. Thank you all for tuning in. Even if we got into a little bit of a bickering, debate, I suppose. Right. Thank you all for tuning in. Much love. I'll be here tomorrow, and I'll be here at lunchtime today, as I always am. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Take it easy.